Psycho 4, The Beginning, is actually a made-for-cable movie, but it's one of high quality, so an unassuming viewer may not even notice. As you can guess from the title, it lives up on its promises to show the beginning, to explore Norman's roots and his relationship with his mother, and everything that leads up to him murdering her and her lover, and tries to offer just a little insight as to why all this would result in Norman becoming the split personality, cross-dressing, murdering psycho that we all know from these movies. At the same time, though, this is as much about the beginning as it is about the ending. It's just as much a sequel as it is a prequel, so past and present come into full resolution in a pretty unexpected way here. As the fourth film in this series, and for all intents and purposes, the final film, it does bring some closure on the overall story, and for what it is, it's actually pretty damn good. The framing device is kind of cool. It's set in present day, or at least present day at the time, 1990, with a late-night talk radio show. The host is CCH Pounder, playing the host, Fran Ambrose, which, side note, I think her real name sounds more like a radio host name than her character's name, but whatever, that's neither here nor there. And this show, while it is not meant to be like a shock jock, Howard Stern kind of program, the host is pretty aggressive and provocative and discussing controversial issues, getting into debates with guests and people who call in, things like that. Norman Bates, we learn, is a fan of this show, claiming to listen all the time, and on this particular episode he just can't resist calling in, because it turns out the subject of the night is matricide. Just what causes sons to kill their mothers, and who would know better about that than Norman Bates, right? So he calls in, using the alias Ed, which most would agree is a nod to Ed Gein, his real-life inspiration, and he tells his story. So he's kept on the line for a long time. The host and the producers of the show, they're very interested in hearing what he has to say, and they slowly start to piece together that this Ed character is in fact Norman Bates, and all the alarms go off and the tension gets high when he tells them that he intends to kill again. And it becomes behind-the-scenes panicked race to try and find out where Norman Bates is, try to prevent the next murder, all while this host has to keep him occupied. And the only way that seems to work is to get him to keep telling his story. So, not too shabby, not a bad plot. I liked it, and I liked where it ultimately led. The movie explores where Norman Bates has been and where he is now. The scenes taking place in the past, which occupy most of the movie, they're well done, and given the fact that, well, it was a TV movie for cable, at least not like network or anything, it didn't feel like there were any limitations or anything like that. It didn't feel like they were holding back with some of the touchy subject matter. There are, as we would expect, some incestuous undertones with Norman Bates and his mother. There is child cruelty. I don't think it softens any of the aspects, because it is important in showing Norman's traumatic youth to at least try to give an answer as to why he is the way he is. I think ultimately it's done well, and I think Henry Thomas, playing the young Norman Bates, he did a good job. Yeah, Henry Thomas, the kid from E.T., playing Norman Bates. Didn't see that one coming. Norman's story, for the most part, is linear, but it does jump around from time to time, back and forth in time. And it all leads to the final part of the story, which, of course, is the subject of the radio show. What everyone's been wanting to hear, and that's about the actual murder of his mother. It's a pretty twisted scene, and even though you know, obviously, that Norman successfully poisons his mother and her lover, there are some pretty tense notes in this scene, and up to that point in the story, I think it's established enough about his mother's cruelty and her boyfriend, who, by the way, something interesting worth noting, one thing that's mentioned is that the two are going to get married after he gets through his nasty divorce, so I thought there were some small echoes of Marion Crane there, which was interesting. But anyway, we at least understand why, at this point, Norman must have had no choice but to do what he does. So in a really weird way, we want to see him get away with it. So the movie's very playful about this scene, and Mother not quite drinking it yet, and showing Norman watching and waiting, and then it just gets worse from there. They both realize that they've been poisoned, but they're still alive. They writhe around like rabid dogs trying to kill Norman. I thought it was a good scene. My only criticism, and it's a small one, but I could have sworn it's been established in the past movies that Norman is murdered. Norman murders them with hot tea, not with iced tea, but with hot tea. Like he murders them with iced tea in this movie. I know it's such a silly gripe, but it just left me, I don't know, second guessing myself, wondering if it was just me and my assumption that it was hot tea. I don't know what the hell's the difference anyway. It might have been an intentional twist to have that effect on viewers to make them think that they think they know the story, but then have this disorienting effect. So if that's the case, then hey, it worked. So I just could have sworn it was hot tea. Anyway, present day story. It's once again featuring Anthony Perkins as Norman Bates, once again playing the character. Once again, he's shrouded in mystery. It immediately raises some questions. When we see him calling in and talking to the radio show, it's obvious that he's not in his mother's house. So we wonder where he is and how he got there. And that kind of displacement, especially when we're so used to seeing this character associated with that specific environment, it is unnerving. And of course, we remember in the last movie, he's taken off to the asylum again. So we wonder what happened. How did he get there? Did he get out? Did he escape? Whose house is this? Is there a dead body in the basement as we speak? After 4 movies, Norman Bates remains an unpredictable and enigmatic character, so anything's possible. But here's basically what happened. While in the hospital, he met and began a relationship with a nurse, Connie, whom he fell in love with, and she helped him get better, or at least as mentally stable as someone like Norman Bates can get. He married her, and he lives with her, so I guess he finally found that redeeming figure, except one thing. It's her that he plans to kill. His reasoning is that he recently found out that she was pregnant, which sets him off in a very desperate way, because he wants the Bates bloodline to end with him. So he doesn't want to take the chance of any child being born into a world with his affliction. For all the panicked researching and calls to the authorities that the radio show producers make, it's all in vain. They failed to track Norman down. The call ends, the show ends, and it's in fate's hands now. Norman takes Connie back to the old house by the Bates Motel, which is in bad shape now. Dust, cobwebs, looks like a typical haunted house at this point. And he has every intention to kill her, but here's the interesting thing. It's Norman Bates that means to kill her, not Mother. There's more Norman Bates to him now. And except for that first time all those years ago, it's always arguably been Mother doing the killing, the Mother side of him, not the Norman side. So the Norman side is reformed, at least we would hope so. And that at least seems to be the case. He does not kill Connie, thankfully. Instead, in a great scene where Norman douses the house in gasoline while the ghosts of the past pop up and scare him and try to stop him, he's finally able to find the strength to leave and put the past behind him. He torches the place and the memories and the power his mother had over him along with it. So it's a happy ending for Norman Bates, and I think he deserves it. This is Anthony Perkins' final bow as the infamous character, and he gives a strong performance that reminds us of just how creepy this character can be, but also reminds us of his sadness and his tragedy. Being constantly associated with this character for the better part of his career must have been, a blessing and a curse to Perkins, and he's always portrayed him with a respect and insight. This isn't your typical slasher maniac running around gutting teenagers. This is a complex character, and a tragic character, and Perkins brought that to the role with each film. Much like with the way Norman Bates leaves the past behind him at the end of this film, this was Anthony Perkins' way of leaving the character behind him. He was a great actor, and he will be missed, and he did leave behind a powerful legacy of one of cinema's most fascinating figures. I rate Psycho 4, The Beginning, 3 stars out of 4. It's a satisfying conclusion to the series. It still has some tricks up its sleeve when it comes to the scares, and it's carried by a strong performance from Anthony Perkins. So that's my review. I know a lot of people maybe don't like this one. I think there's more who don't like it than who do. But that's my opinion. So, you know, if you agree, disagree, please comment below. Let me know. Let me know what you think of Psycho 4, The Beginning. As always, subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on social media, links below. And stay tuned. There's still more reviews to come. Got to take a look at that remake, so that's going to be fun. But for the meantime, thank you for watching.